Update: me, 28 male, with my girlfriend, or ex now, I think, 28 female of 4 years. We set up a life and a home. She just ended it after realizing she needed to find herself. Original post. So this is fresh. Probably too fresh to post anything, but I don't really have any family or people to talk to. So here it goes. Girlfriend just ended her 4-year relationship after I did some poking and prodding. We have a house, a life. I just finished saving for a ring last week. Tomorrow we have reservations for our 4-year anniversary, and I am hyperventilating a bit. The story is a little complicated. She's had a hereditary disease her whole life. We started dating when she was in remission of sorts, and she got sick again about a year in. It's been a mess of new drugs, sickness, health, etc. for her. We've made it through it together. It made our bond very strong. I own my own business, so I was able to work and support us both when she couldn't work her full-time job. However, this business found me pretty successful at a young age. I fell into a deep depression. She helped me through that just by being there, but it's been rough. I gained back 90 of the 100 pounds I lost in high school, drank heavily. I became much more withdrawn. I lost my lust for life, all for a business. She's always been the type to never speak up. She never wants to upset anyone to a fault. She was walked all over in past relationships, jobs, etc. I pushed as hard as I could to figure out some simple things, like what she wants to eat for dinner. Her doctors had a note to not trust what she says because she oftentimes is more sick than what she says that she feels. About 18 months ago, we made the decision to move, after living together for a year, out of the city. The city was killing us, and we picked out a house in our dream location. I purchased it knowing full well it's not smart to own a business with a significant other you're not married to. We made the decision she'd finally quit her job and go back to school for a career that she loves. It took her a whole relationship to do so. I've been supporting us 100% the whole time. Without her asking, she's always felt terrible about it. This change kicked me out of my depression. We were in a place that I could thrive in. She could go to school and work, and we could have a family. I hired people, started working a normal schedule, stopped drinking heavily, and most importantly, my focus was life again, not business. I was living for experiences. She loved the changes in me. We were more active. She dove into school and all was good. We talked heavily about marriage, had a rough time frame. Everything was going really great. Then she got sick in October, like really sick. 6 weeks in the hospital. I hired extra people and commuted 5 hours a day to see her, only missing 3 days. She ultimately had surgery and has been recovering at home the past month, able to get out and about a bit. I noticed a change as she was in the hospital. She wasn't excited to see me. I started having panic attacks when I got home due to the hours and schedule. I had thoughts of overwhelming dread that she was actually falling out of a relationship. We talked about it and she assured me that that was not the case. And through some reading, I found out that these thoughts were part of the depression I thought was gone. As she's been home recovering, I've done everything I can. I noticed our sporadic conversations about the future stopped. She turned away or changed the subject when I mentioned kids. She never kissed me. I had to kiss her. No hugs, no nothing. So finally tonight, I just pushed her. I could only ask, "You okay?" So much as I had in the past 4 months, she broke. She said that she had a lot of time to think in the hospital. She said that she wasn't living for herself. She needs to find herself, and she feels horrible because of 4 years I've been pushing her daily to find her passions and to follow them, not to think of others first in such an extreme. I did this because that's what I do. I work my dream job, and I want that for her. She says that she feels like she's holding me back. She loves me, and I think I believe that because she's refusing to let me settle. But damn, do I still love her? More upsetting, she said that she's never felt at home in our house. She's felt like it's always mine, and she was a girlfriend staying over. I pressed this issue before we moved, asking her where she'd like to live. Anywhere in the world. I can work from anywhere. She said this was a great idea. Please know that I've also got no design sense. I'm just the muscle. So it's not a matter of my stuff being all over the place. She's decorated very nicely. So here I sit, sober, crying, fat, with no one to call. No close family or friends in a 120-mile radius. I can't bring myself to open the door to the office I just built out for her new career, and the paint is literally drying from earlier tonight. We moved to a family area, no more college scene. I read advice to throw yourself into work, and I have a job that almost killed me once, and I will be alone in this house that was 2 to 3 years meant for our family. Money is not an issue. I love the area, I love our home, and I do not wish to leave. It truly is my dream to live here, but it was my dream to live here with our family that we had planned. Life lesson, nothing is set in stone. So how do I even start to cope? We still love each other, we're best friends. I'm going up to sleep in our bed because I can't bring myself to sleep in the guest room, and she doesn't want me to. She's going to stay while we untangle her life, and she, along with my family and hers, are afraid of what I'll do to myself. I'm not going anywhere. I've never been suicidal. But I sure as hell can't drink this one away because the drinking won't stop. But she's going to leave like soon. I know it's not fair to hold on to the idea that she might just need to do some soul searching and come back. And I know that, being so sick for so long, she really didn't have a chance to figure out what she wanted. But I just can't help but feel absolutely gutted that it took this long for it to come out because I can't see my life without us. It's the most life-shattering thing I've ever felt. Now for the comments before reading the update. This person says, "Hey man, I'm very sorry to hear your story. I know what it feels like to have invested so much energy into something and then lose it. It makes you question a lot of things. You will get through this. Life will be good and fun and exciting and blissful for you again. That moment may be off into the future for now, but don't forget that it will come. It's okay to feel sad and in pain now, and until you heal, live your feelings. But don't forget that the future holds good things for you. As someone else said, get therapy. If you have the money, there's no reason not to. You need people to talk to. Besides time for yourself and distance from your now ex, that's the best you can do for yourself. Talk to as many people as possible. Let your feelings out. Don't be ashamed to approach people with what you may think is a sign of weakness. It's not. We've all been there, and the man who can openly share his weak moments is much stronger than the man who hides it. Good luck to you in your heart." This person says, "You have been so good to her. Now it is time to be good to yourself. First therapy. First thing tomorrow, I don't care how inconvenient it is, do it. Next, gym membership. Working out will be good for your mind and body. Just remember you are strong and independent and you can survive anything. Speed up the untangling of your lives. I know that you love her, but she just can't hang around the house keeping the two of you in limbo. Tell her she's either in or out. Do not sleep in the same bed as her. You don't deserve that kind of pain. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Right now, you may not be able to see the past this current heartache, but you'll be okay. Remember that just because the relationship was a strong motivator for many of your life decisions thus far, it doesn't have to be the only reason for anything. Give your girlfriend her space, and if she is going to leave, don't make it hard for her. It seems that she's been struggling for a very long time and she is not 100% fulfilled, it would seem. You've got everything going for you, and maybe when you're no longer together, you can start to focus on your own happiness." Now for the updates. Update 1. The past 24 hours have been a beautiful and sad journey. After the initial shock wore off, we've done a lot of talking, and for the first time, we've been completely honest with each other at the same time. We've been waiting and waiting for our relationship to fit into the life that we've built around it. We've had a hard go at it with sickness, depression, and ultimately the transitional time in our lives. It was a hard time for everyone around us, getting out of college and finding ourselves. We both care so much about each other that we tried to force it to work, ultimately denying our own desires is in the process. Personally, I admitted to myself that I am more afraid to be alone in this house and area than I am upset our time living together is ending. I have struggled with this since we moved here 18 months ago because this is my dream. However, I've had serious doubts about our relationship. And the thing that kept me from saying anything was the fear of the unknown, a fear of living alone as an adult for the first time in my life. Ex-girlfriend was very clear that it's not fair for me to feel guilty about the life that I've built, and this is very true. Likewise, it is not fair to blame her for not wanting the same life. I do wish that she would have spoke up sooner, but ultimately I love her for trying to make it work because she wanted me to be happy. Ex-girlfriend simply does not know what she wants. She thought that she wanted house, kids, and a family, and when they started coming, she realized that she didn't know what she wanted. She only knows that what she doesn't know what she wants. We are both adamant that life is too short to settle. This is important. We've been living as best friends for a long time now, years maybe. Saying this out loud was a relief because it does not mean that either of us wanted our relationship to end. It just needs to evolve into its proper state. We decided to take the week to pack her stuff up, and while it's sad, it's amazing to be with each other now that this is in the open. Sure, there is the initial feeling of hatred at everything that reminds us of the relationship because it's a hard thing to close an overall happy time in your life when you know it's for the best. But this is not an angry breakup, and it's been important to realize that the memories of these objects are all good memories. When the sweeping feelings of fear and sadness go away, happiness will remain. I've come to realize that it's not healthy to fill a void in oneself with a relationship. My biggest fear is being alone because I don't yet know how to do that. This relationship became a way for me to fill that void and avoid the fear. I know the process is just starting, and I know there will be some hard days ahead, but I have a feeling that I've felt much more alone in our relationship in the past year than I will outside of it. Ex-girlfriend and I aren't denying that we are very good friends. So this isn't goodbye, it's just a change in living situation and a new personal journey for the both of us. And so life goes on. I've started to hunt for the right therapist, and my short-term plan is to get through moving her out. I'll admit that the thought of taking her key is terrifying, and I'll miss the small things like the tampon box in the closet and the shoes all over the entry. But as time passes, I think the sadness will reside and only happy memories will remain as we reminisce and catch up over lunch someday. Update 2. I didn't know what to expect from this event because I have been dreading it for over a year. It's fair to say that the anxiety, worry, and pain it caused in that time frame ran my life. I didn't take inventory of this worry, though, until we separated. Today I find myself with the familiar pit in my stomach, the one that's become a companion of sorts since we bought the house. And then remember that there is nothing to worry about. It's done, and I truly feel much better. I have a lot of anxiety about the future. I have come to terms with the fact that I've been preparing for marriage and a child in serious ways, and that plan is on hold. Ex-girlfriend and I have been living together since we decided to part ways a couple of days ago. We didn't know what else to do. It just felt wrong and inappropriate to rip the Band-Aid after such an amicable decision. But I think we were both skeptical that it wasn't a good idea. It turns out it was the best thing that we could have done because it took some time for us to open up and ultimately resolve this entire thing. Last night I came home after being out most of the day letting her pack. She hadn't got much done, just kind of started a few chores and was visibly shaken. She saw me and started crying because I would find out later she really thought I was making up the whole "we've been living as best friends" thing to get her through the move out. She sees how much I do love and care for her, and it upsets her because she thought she would be breaking my heart. It's important to note that this illustrates her issues. Putting others ahead of yourself is mostly a good thing, but when you value the simple happiness of those around you over your long-term emotional well-being to the extent it affects your quality of life, it's unhealthy. I recognized this and was hell-bent on making sure she wasn't staying the rest of the week just for me. This was the catalyst for probably the most honest and healing talk that we've ever had. We sat on the couch for hours talking about us and what happened. Ultimately, she saw that I was completely honest with her, and that changed everything. We had both felt the same way for so long. Once that thin veil of a romantic relationship was lifted and the expectation was gone, we instantly opened up and have actually been closer than we've been. It's strange and unexpected, but I think it's very welcome from both sides. We have a very special relationship. It just isn't romantic. I think the most complicated thing about this situation is how simple it is. We are two people that fell in love, and that love transformed into the love of two close friends over time. We saw it all the way to the end, as far as we could go before a refused proposal ruined our relationship. We tried, it just didn't work in that way. She told me that she had waited for months because she had no idea her feelings were mutual. Years of business have taught me to not wear my heart on my sleeve, and while I lived with these thoughts, I was very careful not to show my hand. Why? It's very complicated. Our relationship was an ebb and flow of emotion. She was extremely sick at times and extremely healthy at other times. I was the same with my depression. I have always been her main caregiver during this, and those doubts became hard to justify as true or circumstantial for both of us. Our relationship was very much that of a parent and child at times. It became a waiting game. It's not easy to think straight when you're spending 40 hours in the car 6 weeks in a row with your life on hold, or working a job you hate because you don't want to upset your coworkers by leaving. As we always experienced periods of health after the sickness, there was always a light at the end of the tunnel. We both care for each other so much and understood sickness that we didn't want that to be a determining factor in our future healthy lives. So we both waited. In the spurts of good health, we continued to build the life we thought we wanted, never stopping to assess the one determining factor together, our relationship. We simply thought we needed to see the big picture, and in a way I think we did. Now that life is set up, there are no doubts in either of our minds. We talked a lot about the timing because she felt terrible it came up when she was in the hospital and around the holiday. Keep in mind she had thought this was one-sided, so she had wanted to say something but didn't want to ruin this time of year. I think this was the first time she really knew that I was being truthful when I said I felt the same way and that there has never been a good time to do this. She said that she felt guilty because she wanted to see each other's families one last time. This was a green light for my ultimate conclusion that we weren't crazy. This had simply turned into a great friendship. I asked her if we were old friends from college, what would have been different about our holiday? She and I both spend days with other friends as families. This time of year, and besides maybe sharing a bed instead of taking the floor, there was no difference. We are very close friends with each other's family members, and none of those relationships have to change. In the end, we are going to go on to stay good friends with a very little break because that's what we've been doing for 2 years. We both think our friendship will grow now that the awkward expectation of romance no longer exists, and we're mutually happy about it. I'm very scared to be alone, and that is my next adventure. It's going to be one day at a time, and I'm not looking for a big break until I venture on to start the family hunt from zero. But I know that I have to be okay here by myself to have any sort of chance at a healthy relationship in the future. So that's what I'll do first. Story 2. Update: my 26 male, wife 26 female is not happy. Plus update. Original post. My wife and I met close to 6 years ago. Crazy over each other and really intimate. After we got engaged, the intimacy started to die down, and a couple of months before the wedding, my wife cut all of our sexual acts, stating that she wanted to wait until we got married. After getting married, that didn't change. She stated that she just didn't have the hormones that she had when we were young and crazy, and her sexual drive just wasn't there. I also thought it could be related to her weight gain, self-esteem issues, but I just said as long as there was nothing wrong with us, I can live with it. The first year of our marriage turned out to be terrible. A lot of arguments and disagreements. She got a job offer where she had to leave 2 hours away for training and ended up being there for months and making no effort to come back home. She eventually told me she wasn't happy. She said that she felt like I was not holding my weight around the house, and she always had to tell me what to do. So I really worked on changing and managed to contribute a lot more around the house: laundry, cleaning, cooking, and so on. Things drastically changed, and it seemed to be back to normal and even better. Still not really intimate. The second year came around and we seemed to be continuing to do well. We got involved in activities together and didn't really fight much at all. The only problem was she wanted to move. She had a lot of bad memories from the area she grew up in and wanted to get away from there. So we agreed to move, and she wanted to move back to my hometown, so we did. We ended up moving in with my parents for a couple of months to save up and look for a house. It wasn't easy because obviously we are living in someone else's house and trying to abide by their living styles. My wife and stepmom weren't vibing well because my stepmom said that she didn't contribute around the house like everyone else and was lazy. After about 3 months total, we ended up moving out and into a house we bought together. After about a month in the house, her father flew up with her niece to stay and visit. Well, coronavirus hit and they ended up staying for a month and a half because they couldn't get flights back. It was fine, but we weren't very intimate while her father was here. I expected that. Anyway, her father finally finds a flight back, but her niece ends up staying here for a couple of months so we can watch her while her father works. I agreed to it, but it did put some stress into our marriage. Nothing seemed wrong though. We still weren't fighting, and it just seemed like we were working through things together. Well, about 3 weeks ago, my wife sits me down and says she is unhappy and doesn't feel in love, but she does love me. She feels like we are just great roommates and can get stuff done. She doesn't like that we aren't intimate, and she feels like we just don't have a romantic connection. I'm puzzled because I've addressed that shortly after we were married, and when I brought that up, she just said that she didn't realize it until now. On top of that, I'm always taking her out on dates and spending time with her. So it wasn't like I neglected that romantic part of our relationship. So we agreed to get some marriage books and try that. If that doesn't work, we moved to counseling. We got the books about a week ago. I've been reading and learning new things to apply. But when I talk to her about things we can try, she gets defensive and says things like, "You think you're the guru now." And when I asked her if she has read any of the books, she said that she hasn't been reading. She said that she doesn't even feel like fixing things. She doesn't know what she wants to do. I keep telling her I can put 110% into this, but if she doesn't put any effort into our marriage, we'll continue to fail. I'm just so confused. I've been working so hard and putting forth so much effort. I work from home. I do 80% of the housework, cook the meals, take care of her niece, take care of the pets, pay the bills, read through marriage books, and still make time for her when she gets home to try and fulfill her needs. I don't know what else to do. Can someone give me guidance? I feel like I'm being a great spouse, but am I just blind to my own shortcomings? I really want to fix it and will do whatever it takes. Thank you for taking time to read through all this and help. Now for the update. Thank you everyone for the advice from the original post. I just wanted to give the community an update. My wife finally got back yesterday from leaving to go see her sister. We talked for a little bit yesterday, but still came to the same thing that she's been telling me. She doesn't want to be with me because she doesn't feel in love, emotionally connected, or intimate towards me. She views me as a friend. I told her she needed to choose: either we work on this and go to counseling, or it's divorce and we cut ties. She couldn't decide and said to give her the weekend. This morning I woke up early, made her breakfast, and brought it to her in bed. Then took her out to eat for lunch and dessert, trying to just spark anything to see if she would agree to work on it. Well, we sat down again after getting back, and she said that she wanted a divorce and that she's 100% on that. It was tough, a lot of crying, sadness, hurt, and all the emotions one would feel. I ended up just going to my room, and she left for the night. I decided to get out and do something, so I jogged and listened to some music for a bit. It helped. I came to the realization that we all have such little time on earth, and I don't want to waste it moping around. I want to improve myself physically, emotionally, and mentally. I want to just enjoy life and find myself again, so I'm going to do that, and one day I might meet someone who is perfect to continue the journey of life with me. I'm still sad and hurt, but all I can say is I'm moving forward and trying to be positive. Thank you all for your support. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you.